Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today, Tori. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. And so today we're going to start with a fun game. We're going to get our creative juices flowing. So, what I want to ask you is what is your guilty pleasure rate? And can you explain it in under a minute? It's okay if it's something that you've been having as a guilty pleasure for a while, or you don't believe it's a guilty pleasure, but maybe someone else might. But convince me to want it to be my guilty
Convincing you, I don't know. It's definitely a
pleasure.
guilty pleasure that I don't know if I can convince anyone to have. But I think it's a newer thing, and I've been a big video guy running a video production company. I do a lot of things around YouTube, but I was never someone to sit and watch YouTube. I never really thought that that was a thing. I was like, I watch Netflix, I watch, show full length shows, but more recently than not, I'm just obsessed with watching dumb stuff on YouTube, whether it's shorts. And so I sit here at my desk at lunch and it's 20, 30 minutes of just dumb YouTube videos on loop.
You don't even have to convince me. I've been a YouTube freak since I was a child, like since it was born. So I completely understand. I love the content that's on YouTube. I think it's like the first of its kind for short form content, and now they're doing even lengthier videos. So I do kind of enjoy those little like documentaries that people create as well. So
That's the one thing that even I'm like reverting away from my normal even more. When I see a video that's over like 6 minutes, I'm like, maybe I'll check that one out later. I'll go
you've you've succumbed to the TikTok world.
yeah. 100%.
Well, I commend you for being a YouTuber. We already have something in common. Not YouTuber, but YouTubey, I
Yeah.
suppose. Well, thank you for sharing your guilty pleasure. You've convinced me already. It was so easy because I'm already a part of it. But so now we'll get into the podcast. Well, thank you everyone for joining us and welcome to the Fully Managed podcast. This is a podcast where we discuss marketing and business tips to help assist you on your business journey. I'm your host, Shannon, Benji's partnership coordinator, and I'm joined here today with a very special guest, Torrey Tayenaka from Sparkhouse. Thank you again for joining me, and thank
Yeah.
you for sharing your guilty pleasures.
Mhm.
So, could you start by telling us a little bit about yourself? Maybe introducing yourself differently than I would, and explaining anything up until this point on your business journey that you think is relevant and important for people to know.
Yeah. So, again, I'm Torrey Tayenaka. I run and I'm the founder of Sparkhouse. We're a video production, video marketing agency. So, full service, basically can help with anything video. So, video, animation, and even photography. I started the company in high school. So, I've been doing this now for 20 years, a little over 20 years. And so, started off doing video actually on YouTube but creating content for real estate, basically video marketing for real estate because my mom's a real estate agent, and then just never stopped. So continually found new ways to create more videos. And now the bulk of what we do is more like commercials. So Amazon ads and YouTube ads and Facebook ads and things like that.
How did you always just have a knack for creation in the way of getting people's attention, or was it something that you just like the creativity of it, and this is kind of like something that you kind of fell into because there was a need?
So I've always been an entrepreneur in the fact that like I like making money. As very early, I used to do like car washes and I would paint my neighbors' mailboxes for money. Whenever I wanted to try to buy something, that was how, I never thought to go get a job. I was like, let's go like try to sell
Figured out.
something or do something. But then in high school, I had two really good teachers that were in film and still to this day, I've actually seen both of them in the last probably 30 days here, 20 years later, the same high
Mhm.
school teachers have come by and worked in our office and collaborated with us on projects. But they basically showed me a really cool skill. And it was fun. And back then more than now, but even still now, like just being good at something like video, I was like, oh, we could definitely help other businesses using this. And it's not a tool that everyone has. Even though, you have a really good iPhone, 4K camera in your pocket. It's just like that storytelling and cinematography is still something that can help businesses, and so help them grow, help them with marketing and things like that.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's so lovely to thank your teachers for, helping you so much. I think that, I cannot thank my teachers enough for my upbringing. I feel like, you can have one good teacher and they can just influence you for the rest of your life. Like, you learned what you're passionate about through them being passionate about that same thing, and it's just the best thing ever. I love teaching in that way of, I just give so many thanks to the teachers that I've grown up with.
Yeah, I think it's cool now too. Like we're friends even on Facebook or Instagram, and we're still sending each other, videos about what we're working on, or cool like inspiration of ideas and things like that. So yeah, it's cool to have that. It's funny that I still can't call them by their first name, but uh, it is what it is.
It's a respect thing, you know,
Yeah,
like, it's
but I call them, and their family's like, I don't know who you're asking for. No one talks like that.
that's really funny though, but it's great to have that relationship with them too, and, like, they know that you appreciate them for what they kind of provided for you, so
Yeah,
that's such a
hopefully.
lovely way of being able to keep that relationship as well. So, for what do you think that video marketing can achieve that, like, a traditional marketing approach couldn't? Like, what elements of that do you think, get people's attention better than other mediums, etcetera?
Well, going back to like the trivia, like a lot of people are spending time on video platforms, whether
Mm,
that is a native video platform like YouTube, or Facebook, Instagram has converted into a video platform, and obviously TikTok is a video platform. So people are used to engaging with that type of content, and so by using video mixed into that to promote, whether it's a business, a product, it's a perfect fit there. But one of the things that we really focus on is complex or like um, new products, new services, and that's where innovation is coming from, right? When brands or companies are coming out with new services that have never been around, new products that have never been around. So, like a photo or a description of an IoT device that's never been created just doesn't explain what the
mm,
heck it even does, right? And so, video is really good at not only introducing a new product, but explaining how it works, how it's going to affect your lifestyle, how it's going to benefit you. So again, that's why we focus a lot on Amazon products and things like, how do you differentiate? This is a security camera, but it also has facial recognition, or it has tracking, or it has night vision. And again, video is just a really cool way to explain that and kind of stand out in the crowd.
yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think people do prefer an explanation, and a lot of people aren't willing to read it. Do you how do you balance, like, creativity with that element of explanation or, like, describing something where people are interested, but they're also you're not losing them with, like, a description or, a video that's maybe going too into depth?
Yeah, so we have a couple different ways. At the end of the day, like an entertaining video, you can keep someone longer. So you're going to eventually be able to explain more things. So it's almost like to your benefit to keep it interesting, keep it fun and light, um, instead of just trying to jam in all the features in that first 5 seconds. But also, we understand that one video can't be everything to everyone. So a lot of times we create a series of videos, and it's just, people know, like a sales funnel. You're going to hit people at the very top of that sales funnel with something exciting, something that's going to pique their interest, maybe even bring up some questions, and then they're going to dive in and either be retargeted, or they'll be down the funnel visiting the website and experiencing a secondary video that might go deeper, and explain how the product works, or some they'll skip over any of the issues that they thought they saw in those first videos that are it's too good to be um, true, and then they'll go and see a testimonial. They'll see another video that kind of alleviates any of that concern that they have.
Yeah. So speaking to actually the too good to be true point that you said, how do you like create a video that fosters trust? Because I think that is so difficult for people to kind of, and maybe that's impossible. Maybe, maybe you can't do that. But I'm always curious about that because I think that that's very common, especially with so much video out there nowadays and so many advertisements constantly in everyone's face, like it's unavoidable. How do you create a video specifically for a product or a service that is people believe that it does what it does when they watch the video?
Yeah, I guess we don't necessarily do that all the time, and it
Mhm.
depends on the type of product. If there's a product that's in a space that there is a lot of fraud or, products that don't deliver, whether maybe a cleaning product or trying to think like there's a couple industries where people are like, this is always going to be too good to be true. So for those types of clients, we might go above and beyond to make the video just feel more authentic, whether that's like less polish in the edit, less dramatic changes in the visuals and things like that to make people go like, hey, we didn't do any camera tricks to make this happen, right? um but other products, it's just about fitting the product to the audience that you're actually targeting, whether or not you care to avoid the skepticism, or there's some storytelling features that we also do where we just will alleviate any of those concerns. So again, like you might say, "Hey, this is the softest pillow ever," and then people are like, "Well, this is going to hurt my neck," and then explain. You call that out, and so that you're calling out potential issues and then alleviating those in an explanation in a secondary step in that storytelling. But again, it's kind of tricky to say what we do for every single video because each industry is unique, each product's unique, and each like customer demographic is going to be unique. And so we really take a lot of time to learn from our clients. Like when you present this, what are people asking? What are the concerns that they have? Um, what do they love about the product? And then we tie a story around that, whether it's avoiding the negatives or calling them straight into the face and flipping the narrative. There's a lot of different ways we can approach it through storytelling.
Yeah, I really like the idea of looking looking towards the consumer concerns and providing evidence that that either won't happen or you can alleviate the stress of them worrying about that. I think that's very forward looking and it's accounting for those things rather than um, someone someone just avoiding it altogether just because they
Yeah.
don't know. um,
It definitely helps to have clients that have good products and good services. It would be a bigger struggle if we had a lot of clients that were selling, "Hey, here's something that doesn't work. Can you try to sell it?" Most of our clients, they're trying to innovate. They're trying to create something really cool, and they're proud of it. And not every product's perfect, and they know that. So they're like, "Hey, this doesn't work great for here, so don't show it that way. Let's not lie to the person, and let's show it in a way that really makes the product or the service shine."
How do you vet clients for the purpose? Like, do you try the product when you um introduce someone to you, or is there some kind of vetting process for who you choose to work with? Is it something that a product that you would like and enjoy, or is it something that it's just a proper fit for another reason?
Yeah, we're not quite as picky as like maybe an influencer that like I've tested every single product that we do a commercial for. We definitely don't feature the ones that we weren't super excited about like on our website.
Mhm.
But a lot of times we don't get to actually experience the product until like right before the production. Some of these products, we might be using prototypes for the filming, and the founders are telling us this is how the product is going to work. Like this
Oh,
product doesn't light up right now, but it will, when we get through production. So we can't really vet out all of those. But at the end of the day, I think what we were saying is like we learn a lot about the product, and I think the best way to sell it is to tell the truth and show where it does work the best. I think if you make a commercial showing a chainsaw that cuts through metal and it can't do that, like it's gonna get bad reviews. It's not gonna be a win. But if you know that it can only cut through certain types of wood, then just show how well it does that, and then people will buy it who need that specific product.
yeah. Plus, if you're using a prototype and it doesn't fit the bill when it's created fully fledged, then it's not necessarily your advertising's fault for the product not working out in the way that they promised it would. So I
Yeah,
guess
there's definitely some trap that we have with some of those where we're like, okay, if you tell us this is how it's gonna work, then we'll make it look like it does that.
yes, you are still getting paid if the product
Yeah.
doesn't work in the way it does, which is unfortunate for the consumer, but also you're doing a service that is kind of, not in a different way. It's separation from the consumer because how are you going to completely know that that is,
Yeah. And that's part of like we do an internal rating of our projects. Sometimes we do a video that drives crazy sales or increases viewership of a product or does something really good for that business. And then other times we do a video that the results aren't amazing or aren't like something that's worth writing a blog post about. But we also will analyze, was that the video's fault or was that the product's fault? And so
Mm.
a lot of times, we have different metrics, whether that's like if our video gets the views and then drives the traffic to the website, but then it doesn't convert, like that's out of our hands. And so sometimes we'll analyze a project just a little bit differently. But that's where we like to work with our agency partners. So again, we're a video production agency. So we just do the like content strategy, the writing, the filming, the editing, but then we work with other agencies that might be doing things like media buying or website optimization and website conversions and driving Amazon sales. So we work a lot with them. And so having those good partnerships helps a lot as well.
How do you know that a video is bringing in quality leads? Or is that not really like your concern? I'm so curious because
Yeah.
you said that you analyze them in different ways, so I'm wondering like how you can gauge that if that makes sense.
Yeah. So when we kick off a project, we sit with the client and we set goals. So the goals for the video, mm, there's different things. So we have some videos that we call like customer success videos. And these are videos that might come, like say you purchase a product, it gets mailed to you, you open the box, there's a QR code on top of that box, you scan that and it plays a video. That video is assuring that that customer is happy with the product because maybe there's a confusing way that you're supposed to set it up or a not intuitive way to use the product, some things that you want to make sure that they're not doing it. Um, I mean, imagine, someone gets an iPhone and they've never seen one before and they're trying to like look at the back side of it and they're like, it's not bright, but they're looking at the wrong side of the phone. That's a little bit more obvious, but some of these products are confusing. So,
Yeah.
again, a product like that, our success metric is when people purchase the product and they watch the video that they didn't complain about things that aren't true about the
Mm,
product. 'Cause
interesting. Okay.
that might be the goal of the video. So the client said, "Hey, we're shipping these products," and people are complaining about things that aren't real. They don't understand the product. Maybe if they would have gotten on a call with customer support, we could have fixed it, but a video now fixes that problem for them. So that's where we see success there. Some of the videos, like you were saying, I guess it would be more on the marketing side. So we drive traffic to a website and how do we determine whether or not we sent good traffic to that website? It would be conversion metrics. So,
Mm.
like, if we send 1 million people to a website and they don't purchase it, um, then we're sending either the wrong people, or again, we work with our partners to help change the website design or the conversions there. But yeah, I guess long answer. If the way that we track like whether or not we're sending good viewers or good customers to somewhere would be conversion over anything.
No, that makes complete sense. I think it's good to have the foresight of knowing that the customer may not understand a product because I to know that you're also making videos for that purpose is really smart, I think marketing wise, and I think a lot of people don't think about that side, I guess, because that does drive more like people who will actually give good reviews on your product because they completely understand it. Whereas they might think it's very simple when purchasing it and then there's more returns or there's bad reviews and that's not I guess it's not the you would think that's not the ideal client, but it's just because there's like the separation, which I didn't know that you were also making videos for that, which is really helpful. And I think that makes a lot of sense to think about.
Yeah, I think it's to our own fault, but like we don't put those videos on our website because they're not sexy and fun and expensive.
Of course, they're just how-to videos, like
Yeah.
wiki how, but a video, which is and I don't know, I think that's extremely helpful.
Yeah, and I think most of our clients, the way that they find us is they see cool videos and they want a cool video, and then once we get into their ecosystem, we basically start educating them that marketing can be at very different levels of working with that customer, whether like it is acquiring a new customer, but then keeping that customer happy. So yeah, we do a lot of instructional videos. We do a lot of FAQ videos. So again, like if a client is having issues, like we're getting phone calls all day, every day, asking the same question. Okay, why don't we make a video that we can send out to those people really quickly, so that we don't have the burden of a huge tech support team just fixing a problem that could have been a 30-second video.
Exactly, and I think there's a lot of people that would be more willing to purchase a product or a service beforehand when they know how to use it, because even if it's like for me who is not technologically savvy, I would more likely buy a product if it involved technology if I understood how to use it before purchasing it, because if
Yeah,
it's something that's beyond or seems beyond me and I don't have a how to that explains it and makes it more simpler than I expected it to be, then I'm more likely to buy that product beforehand, not even afterwards if I'm gullible enough to buy something that I don't understand. It's
yeah,
also helpful to understand it afterwards, but that also feels like a step that could help drive traffic and, like, actual purchases rather than just, um, people not understanding something and immediately clicking off.
yeah. I think it's goes back to honestly like one of the things we talked about in the earlier kind of sales videos. Like if there is a hurdle that you need to get over with a potential client. One of them might be, hey, is this hard to set up? And that's an element, right? And whether you can put that in that initial commercial or if it's going to be in a video further down the funnel that just says, super cool product, super cool features and benefits. People are like, sounds awesome, but that sounds horrible to set up or it's going to be a pain. And then we have a secondary video that's like, my grandma set it up with her old Nokia phone and it worked fine. Like, then, we move them down that funnel.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And it's good to account for that because I think that a lot of people think marketing is just getting people in the door kind of thing, but there's keeping them after that, which is
Right.
those how-to videos. It's very helpful for people to understand things fully, and I think that is almost disregarded a lot of time or not considered when people are doing a marketing approach, and, it's good to see that you have that element and you're considering it when advertising a product.
Yeah. It's a little bit harder for, I think, brands to get that budget approved when it's not that sexy, cool thing that they're going to show at the next board meeting.
Yeah.
They're not going to go like, look at all these cool training videos we just made.
But if it's avoiding extra work for them, I mean, it's almost like should be accounted for in the budget because it's, if you avoid paying someone overtime for answering all these support questions
Yeah.
or like wasting their time answering a support question that could easily be fixed in a how-to video, I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. No, we believe so.
So when people come to you, looking for support, for marketing support and these kind of videos, what do you think is like the biggest misconception that they have about, like video marketing?
But video marketing, I would say the biggest thing we get is I want a simple video. It's only 30 seconds. So everyone always leans to the length of the video being how simple it is. So again, people are like, I don't want some big expensive video. I want a simple short video. And I'm like, if you've ever watched the Super Bowl, the most expensive videos in the world are super
Or
short videos.
it's the amount
And
of editing that go into it.
it's the amount of editing. It's what you put in front of the camera. If you have um, Brad Pitt in front of the camera, that's going to cost a lot more than having me in front of the camera.
Mhm.
There's elements. Obviously, with celebrity is a huge thing, but what people really don't understand, um, kind of going back to what I was saying with like an iPhone, everyone wants kind of an iPhone commercial. So they're like, my product is great for everyone, any type of customer. And so they're like, I want to see my product being used by a young professional. I want to see my product being used by an elderly couple talking to their grandkids. I want to see my product being used by college kids. And I'm like, you just described 7 actors and 3 completely different full production days. So you really just described 3x budget than a simple video. Um, so a lot of what we do is actually just kind of setting expectations of the more people or the more actors, the more characters, the more locations, the more filming days. That's what's going to drive your budget. So some of the best commercials can still be very simple, maybe one location, one actor. Um, but it's just kind of explaining that to them. And then what we normally do is kind of set a budget or a range or a target for that client and say, let us creatively come up with cool ideas that can accomplish the goal that you guys are looking for, but not go out of the budget that you want to
Mm,
spend. I hate when clients and even agencies come to us, they're like, we have this amazing idea. It's already approved by the client. The concept is approved. And now it's me being the bad guy to be like, your idea is super expensive
yeah.
because you wrote it without thinking about production, without thinking about locations and things like that. Um, so our team is really good at getting really creative and coming up with like, maybe we can rent one location, one house or one office, and we could put in one corner, we can make it look like a different location. In a different corner, we can make it look like a different location. And while um, we're only filming one day, one location, it looks like we traveled around and did all this different stuff. Um, but there's limitations to that. You know, you can't be at the beach and at a snowy mountain in the same day. So that's an extreme, but you know, there's different creative ways to kind of get around that.
Yeah, it sucks to be the bad guy and be realistic with people of the idea that this takes, even though it looks very simple on like when you see a commercial, you don't see the behind the scenes of how much effort it may have taken to produce that.
Yeah.
It really put into reality to me. I actually talked to a producer the other day for an agency that told me that sometimes a 30-second video can minimum take up to 10 hours in one day for, and I'm like, whoa.
So I mean that's even being nice. So our
Yeah,
average
that's like
film
being
production,
generous.
yes, our average film production day, like when we're filming, is a 10-hour day for the crew.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
we're arriving, you know, just setting up the equipment for that first shot normally takes an hour and a half to 2 hours to get the first shot, and then as you're moving around, it might be 30 minutes in between each shot. But like I was saying, that's if you're staying at the same location. Now, if you're saying, hey, let's pack up everything and go across town and film in a different area, you're spending another hour or 2 hours. Um, and yeah, in a 30-second commercial, you might actually have 2 or 3 production days. So it's actually, you know, 20, 30 hours of production that goes into it. And I think the bigger thing that people don't account for is it's also 4 to 6 weeks of, or potentially 6 to 8 weeks of prep before that day of
I was just
production.
saying that as well. Preparation is not considered at all. Like you have to plan. It's like an event planning as well. You have to account for the actors when they eat, like all of these different elements that like no one even thinks of. Like these are other employees. Like there's
Yeah.
you have to think
No,
about every
we
element.
call it, yeah, like event planning, party planning for a party that a lot of people are, that you're not there to party, you're there to work. So um, but yeah, we're coordinating, you know, a crew of 10 to 15 on the film production side. We're probably coordinating a couple clients to be there at the same time because they want to be involved and seeing what's going on. We're coordinating the schedule of multiple actors, and then the schedule of the location, and then any factors that could be affecting that location. So again, like if we're renting a really cool venue, they might have something not going on next door or upstairs or something that would affect our video. So that means when we rent out like a grocery store to film a commercial, we might be filming at midnight to avoid the fact that we can't film while they're actually open as a grocery store. So there's just so many things that go into planning out to get us there, and then we're there for at least 10 hours.
Yeah, people, I definitely think that's probably, like, maybe the biggest misconception of the amount of time and effort that it takes to actually produce something, because I
Yeah,
don't think that it's something looks so simple on, like, from you just watch the video and you're like, "Oh, that probably took no time, like, I could do that myself," and it's not at all. Like, I don't think credit is not given where credit is due for this situation. Video production takes so much longer than anyone can possibly imagine, and so
Mhm.
much more effort. So I commend you for dealing with that and also having to be the bad guy of like, someone's looking for you for a service that expects it to be an easy process and it's just nothing like what they think it is.
Well, I think like what I've learned over, again, the 20 years that I've been doing this, is we have built a process that's super defined, super clear, and we can clearly explain that to our client before we start. And that has alleviated a lot of issues or concerns from clients. What we found out before was, we knew the process, but we would forget that client. Some of these clients had never done a video before, and so 2 3 weeks in, they were asking things like, "Where's the video?" And we're like, "We're so far, we forgot to
Oh,
educate them." And so
yeah.
now, and we drink our own Kool-Aid. So we have videos that explain our budgeting process. We have videos that explain our production process and the steps to expect next and things like that. And so, yeah, when we onboard a new client, we send them those files, we send them those descriptions so that they understand what to expect. And then we get a lot more happy customers at the end.
Yeah, education is a part of transparency. I think when someone is asking you for a service that they're like lightly, at least lightly to maybe heavily not aware of how it actually works.
Yeah.
Um and so being transparent with that process is really helpful because I think a lot of people, if they don't understand the process completely, might think you're just lollygagging and that it's, you're not doing anything for this big chunk of time because they assumed it would be done in a smaller amount of time. And so they're expecting something that is definitely not even close to done, but they're just being unrealistic with like the standards of how something works because they
Yeah.
don't understand it completely. So it understands to alleviate those worries of the client. And if they're, if they expect it to be done shorter than your process, then also you don't have the grievance of dealing with that type of person because they'll just not use your service if they're
Right.
expecting something that is
We can
unbelievable.
charge them extra. We can
Yeah, or
charge.
you
We
can
can hurt.
just like stress yourself out a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe. Um, but yeah, I think it's great to account for every type of person that likes to be familiar with the process. I think that's much easier because there's a lot of people that are hands off too. And if they have expectations that are realistic in the beginning, then it's easier for them to kind of let you do what you need to do and just trust that it's going to be done in that period of time.
Yeah. No, I think we really we were hesitant to build a process that was super clear because we're a creative team and we're like every
Not always
project's
perfect.
new and creative and different. And so you can't build a process on like something that's always so different. But we built a framework and it's helped us out a ton. And yeah,
Yeah.
like you said, to clearly communicate with our clients on what to expect and also um, something that we can kind of use just to explain ourselves what like you said, like why we are taking so long to do something. Like it's very clear from the start. So we used to have issues with clients asking too many questions about that stuff, and now I feel like we've done a good job of explaining it beforehand and get rid of that headache.
That's good, and I'm sure that with different clients, you create different plans as well, and, like, the template helps them, like, gauge in the beginning, but then, of course, I'm sure things change and because of the specifics of the type of product or what you have to do for it, so it's as long as you're communicating with them throughout the process, I think that is the same thing as well, as the expectations setting expectations in the beginning, though, as a template is definitely probably very helpful for the people trying to
Yeah,
educate them.
we're waiting on a project right now because it hasn't snowed very much in the local mountains, and we need to do a commercial
Uh,
in the snow. And we're every week we're like, we're delaying it another week because we're just waiting for snow.
Global warming's a bitch for snow projects.
I'm just glad we're in Southern California, Orange County specifically, and we're blessed with being able to go and film. I would say 90% of the time. We have some friends that are up in Seattle, and they're like, we can't film. It's raining almost every other day.
That's
Um,
horrible.
because we'll get like a little bit of a rain spell, and we're like, gee, I don't know how anyone gets any work done because we have to cancel shoots or push shoots because of rain. But yeah, again, we're lucky that most of the time we're pretty open.
That is really nice. I actually heard recently that a lot more movies are being filmed on the East Coast because of very different, like, varying terrain in smaller areas, which I thought was
Mhm.
kind of cool. I live on the East Coast, so I was like, "This is" but
Yeah, I mean, it's been the benefit that we have like I mentioned like beach and snow, like we can film in the morning at the beach and we can be in snow if it's snowing that afternoon, an hour
That's
and a half later.
crazy. That's such an
Uh,
insane thing.
so we don't normally do that, but at least, for a project, we can film within the same week, a full beach scene, a mountain scene, a snow scene, and a desert scene, all within like an hour and a half drive.
But thank you so much for joining me today. This was really fun, and I think that I learned a lot more about video marketing than I normally would know. A lot of people that we have on the show have different varying job positions or their traditional marketing manager positions. So this was really cool and eye-opening for me. So thank you so much for sharing all of your insights about this.
Beautiful. Yeah, no, thanks for having me. And I look forward to checking it out.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for listening and or watching. Please don't forget to check out other videos and get to learn from this podcast like I get to do every time. Thank you so much and have a lovely day.